When was the last time you felt comfortable in your skin? They did a survey with 50 people in New York recently, and they asked that question, are you happy in your skin? The results will change your perspective. But let me not tell you the story. This is what happened.
Researchers in New York gathered together 50 random people, young and old, to ask them a simple question. If you could change one thing about your body, what would it be?
Only one.
I would change my forehead. I have a really big forehead.
I'd like to be taller.
The puffiness of my face.
My ears. I have big ears.
Stretch marks after having a baby.
A lot of times, like, kids would make fun of me, like, hey man, you got big ears, you got Dumbo over there, you know?
Definitely my skin, because I've dealt with acne and eczma issues ever since I was a little kid.
Growing up, like, a lot of people call me like five head, or like, your forehead's so big. They've always would say something to me about it.
They then asked the same question to a group of young children, and the difference in responses was astounding.
Have a mermaid tail.
Probably like a shark mouth, so I could eat a lot of stuff.
I could have teleportation in my body. Extra pointy ears. I want legs like a cheetah so I can run faster like a cheetah. I could have wings so I could fly.
I don't think there's anything to change.
I like my body, actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't change anything?
Nothing else. Just a mermaid tail.
These days, it's so easy to feel insecure about your own appearance. Whether it's a mean comment someone says or the photoshopped image we see in magazines, insecurity is everywhere. But beauty is not all about appearance. It's about how you perceive your own beauty.
A lot of people obsess about getting older and about the wrinkles. I love my white hair. I loved it when it started turning white. It's one of those things, because I chose to stay this way, because it just wouldn't be me if I totally changed the way I look.
If we all as children believed that we were perfect in our skin, then what's to stop us from believing it now?
Oh, well, you heard it. It just wouldn't be me if I changed the way I looked. Indeed, but what's stopping us from believing it? We're talking about this morning. With us in studio to talk about how we are ever changing ourselves. Psychologist Charissa Bloomberg, welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
The perceptions we have of ourselves as children, the perceptions that we have of ourselves as grown-ups, it's so different. Why does that change occur?
Well, if you've noticed, Ilana, that they were all under puberty age. Okay, so when hormones kick in from the age of 12, 13, 14, everything changes. They become aware of their sexuality. They become aware of the opposite sex, or same sex. Let me be correct here. And then they compare themselves to other people. And then there's rejection and there's hurt and then I was not good enough, and they learn all that negative self-talk. And that's when it starts happening. Sexuality happens.
It's interesting that in the video where they did the research of these 50 people who they asked this question to, would you be comfortable in your own skin? They asked the question. A lot of them were referring to other people. It's almost like, we often think that other people's perception is an objective or even correct opinion about who we are.
Exactly. It's very sad. There was a professor who once did a test and said, if you wanted to be somebody else, who in the world would you want to be? And 90% of them wanted to be somebody else. So we're not happy with who we are, how we look, and it's very sad.
I also think it's society's way of, and I'm talking about myself, for instance. I'll walk in a mall and someone would assume that they know you and say, hey, big legs, I've had that. And people go on and they touch you because they feel that it's okay to just say that,
Yes. And then, we take ownership of that. We internalize it. Oh, I've got big legs. Oh, my nose is too big.
No,
oh, my arms
is
too
big.
big. Yes, and then starts the aging process. The arms start going. And we're such a judgmental society. We judge others, we judge ourselves, and we need to start releasing that and let that go. We have such a dysfunctional relationship with our bodies.
But I think it starts with self, don't you think?
Yes.
We assume that it's not correct or fine or perfect within ourselves, and we then project it to other people.
Yes. So it's a negative self-talk that we say to ourselves, and we have to tune into that, because we've all got conversations going on in our head all the time.
Yeah.
Listen to the negative stuff that we're telling ourselves, because it's unconscious.
Sure.
And it goes on all the time without us even realizing it.
Psychologist Larissa Broomberg in our studio. We're talking about the perception that we have of self, and we interviewed a whole bunch of children and then the grown-ups and different perspectives of how they feel within their own skin. Is there a way of re-establishing that to bring back that childlike feeling of acceptance?
Yes, but it's hard work. It's not going to happen overnight. Let's not sound negative, okay? We have to unlearn all those perceptions. We have to unlearn all those judgments. We have to revisit all those hurts when, you know, we were teased. Get rid of it and start with a clean step.
How do we get rid of it?
By tuning in, by therapy, by being childlike, by being creative, by taking ownership of ourselves. This is what we've got. We are unique. There's no one else with our genetic code. How awesome is that? And own it and rock it. If you're healthy, flaunt it, rock it. Life is too short.
I spoke to Charissa earlier and I said to her, what's one of the things that one can do? She said, how many times have you danced naked in your house without anyone looking, you know? It's that feeling of feeling comfortable with looking in the mirror to yourself.
Yes. And getting back to being childlike, and this is what I am. Let's own it. Let's deal with it. Let's be confident of it. If it's not going to change, deal with it. Life's too short. Let's not cover up. Let's just be more self-empowered and work with our bodies.
One of the ladies in the video, she said, if I changed who I am now, then it wouldn't be me, you know?
Yes, isn't that interesting? But you know what got me, Lala, is that little freckle-faced plump one with braces. I'm happy with my own body. I mean, isn't that awesome?
It's beautiful
With a
because
little
she's a child and she doesn't care, you know?
Yeah. And how wonderful. Shame, I'd love to chat to her in a few years. Society's going to put that on. It's not good to have freckles, you plump, braces. You know, we do it. The media, unfortunately.
The media, that's us.
Yes, that's us.
It's one way to unlearn it. Well, on this show, it's a feel-good breakfast show, and we like you just the way you are. Charissa, thanks for joining us this morning. Sure, incredible stuff happening on our Feel Good Breakfast show. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, we are live. Leigh-Anne, what's happening next?